Hello, and welcome to another week of Light to My Path, our 2025 Bible reading plan. This week, we are reading an exciting week of the book of Romans, the letter to the Romans, Romans 7 through Romans 11. Now, I want to say, Romans 9 through 11 are some really important stuff. It's a little complicated. Romans 7 is a little complicated. Romans 8 is a little easier, but this is a great week of reading. Take your time and read through this stuff. Try to think through the logic. Try to follow the logic that Paul's getting at. Romans 7 is kind of in the middle of this longer argument that he's making throughout Romans 5 through the rest. Romans 8, though, it's all about our life and how we can live differently now that the Spirit of God lives in us. Like, just look at verse 11. For instance, if the Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you. And so, like, the emphasis there is on the Spirit, as in the power that raised Jesus from the dead. It's the same Spirit, the same power that lives in us. This is an idea that Paul says with clarity in Ephesians as well. If you just stop and think there for a second, the power that raised a dead man to life is also living in us. I feel like we don't acknowledge that or access that power enough. We don't believe that life-giving, life-transforming, dark to light, dead to alive power is actually like it's a part of it. It's flowing in and through us. I wonder if we believe in God that much. But he who raised Christ from the dead will give life to your mortal bodies also through his Spirit that dwells in you. So he's not talking about like after we die. He's talking about right now. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead is living in us, and he wants to give our dead lives life today. So this is what Romans 8 is kind of all about. He makes all of these promises, and they're just such wonderful promises, and all these things that we can kind of hold on to. I think some of the stuff in Romans 8 is a little misunderstood at times, like we know that all things work together for good. I don't think that gives us license to say, oh, that cancer or that car accident or that tsunami or that horrible thing that happened, God ordained that. I don't think that's what that means at all. I think rather it means this world is broken. We live in a creation that has been broken. We are a part of the brokenness. We break things all the time. We cause pain. We make things worse. And God has a way of taking all of the broken strands of our lives and weaving them together to make something more beautiful, but also to give new life. That's what the resurrection is finally all about. And that happens as we love God. Like, because it's, we know that all things work together for good for those who love God, who are called. And so as we follow that calling, as we get up and follow Jesus, as we love God, we find that God kind of weaves things together. Doesn't mean life becomes easy or simple or painless. I mean, anything but. But we can see what God is doing only from the perspective of people who love and follow God. Anyway, there's a lot we could say about that. The promise in the end of chapter 8 that nothing can separate us from the love of God. I mean, come on, there's nothing we need to hear more, that there's nothing that can separate us from the love of God. And then 9 through 11 is this kind of confusing section on, well, okay, if God sent Jesus into the world to love and reconcile and save us all, regardless of whether we're Jew or Gentile, that's sort of the big scope in Romans, well, then what was the point of Israel? What about the Jewish people? And do they have, like, is there any benefit to being Jewish? Like, what's the story here? And Paul is a Jewish man who's like wrestling with these problems, and he's grieving over the fact that so many of his own, countrymen and women are not getting it. And so Romans 9, 10, and 11 is sort of Paul working through that. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's really awesome, but also kind of complicated. Listen, I would love for you to come and talk to me about this. Ask me a question about Romans. I'd love to sit down and chat anytime. Anyway, have a great week of reading, and enjoy.